Hey guys, welcome to today's video. As I'm sure you can see by the title, we are talking about sleep training today. And I won't lie, a little nervous to talk about this topic because it is, for some reason, it's just like this controversial thing in the parenthood world. But I do think that by sharing like my experience with sleep training, that this is going to be helpful to just at least one person out there. So I'm gonna put on my big girl pants and I'm just gonna talk about it. But a couple disclaimers before we get started. Number one, I am not for or against any direction. I think that it is your job and your right as a parent to make these decisions for your child and for your family, because every family and every child is so different, and what works for one person might not work for the other, and that is okay. You know your child best, you know your home best, your schedules, your lifestyle best, and so everything that I'm saying is just kind of based on my experience and what kind of happened in my own home. Second, this is not a place for judgment, for negativity. So if I do see any comments like that, if someone's sharing their story in the comments and there's some negativity, I will be removing that. It's just not the place for that. And I think that's all of the disclaimers. So let's just get started. So sleep training. My daughter she's 15 months. She's 15 months and she is only just recently started sleeping through the night, and so it has been just like a long journey. She has not been like a unicorn sleeper or anything. You wouldn't hear me talking about her sleeping through the night from newborn or anything like that. Like, she's just pretty much your average kid when it comes to sleep, I have found. We definitely hit the 4-month sleep regression when she was 4 months old, and I was so exhausted, just like desperate to get a good night's sleep. And I remember just feeling like nothing was working and just really mentally exhausted. So that's when I did lots of research and I came across the TakingCaraBabies sleep training program. And I'm not going to go into detail about her program because that is something, it's her work and she deserves to be paid for that. So I bought the program. We went through the videos and the steps and everything, and waited until she was 5 months old, because you're supposed to start at that point. And I was super eager to get started because, again, I was just mentally exhausted. So basically right when she was 5 months old, we implemented it. And I want to just say that nobody talks about this, and I understand why nobody talks about it, but I'm just gonna go out and do it. There is crying, like there's a lot of crying and it's not considered a cry it out method, but there is definitely a lot of crying, and I think that that's important to know with pretty much any sleep training method, is that it's about self-soothing, and there's going to be crying, unless of course there's some babies that don't, but there definitely are, the majority, there's a lot of crying. And so we went through the program and did all of the steps and kept consistent at it, and we saw results. And it was about like the 5th day or 6th day where she kind of started really turning and starting to be able to put herself to sleep and sleeping through the night. And it was just like so amazing, because those like 5 nights were pretty much torture for me. It was so hard. It was just, it was so hard. It was so hard not to just go in there and scoop her up and just throw the program away, but we stuck to it, and she did end up sleeping through the night. And then it was only about a month or so of having that like in effect, and then she got her very first cold. And at 6 months she had a cold for like a week, and it was lots of waking up in the night, lots of like congestion, and having to go in there with like the nose Brita and stuff. So everything that we had worked towards, it just kind of went to the back burner, and we were just at square one basically. So after she started getting better and stuff, we decided that we would try again, and then it was really, really hard. And the number one thing that they talk about in the program for sure is about consistency. And I 100% agree that if you want to see results, you need to be consistent. It's important for baby to have like this clear understanding and not to confuse them. And so definitely that is very important, and I know that. But when you're in the thick of it and you're someone like me who just really struggles to hear your little one crying so much, it was way harder to put into action than to say. So anyways, saying that, we kept basically for the next like several months, we kept saying, okay, we're gonna try it again this week. Okay, this week doesn't work for us because we have ABC going on, so we're gonna try it again this week. And we kept kind of doing that, or we kept starting and then something else would come up, and then it just kind of kept like doing this whole song and dance. Anyways, then what really kind of did it in was eventually we were planning a big family adventure trip across the world, and we knew that there was just no point for us in that moment to be doing it because we were about to completely turn her world upside down by going to a completely different time zone, Australia, whereas like there's a whole day in between us, and not to mention the jet lag and the moving around and being in a different environment. So we just decided, let's put a pin in it. Let's just kind of go with the flow, especially for the trip. Like, she definitely ended up waking up a ton through the night in the trip. We were, you know, co-sleeping a lot. There was just like, everything was just whatever. It was survival mode basically. And then once we got home, we let ourselves adjust back to our time zone here in Canada. And then that's when things really kind of cemented for us. We did jump in. We decided to do the program again and to implement it very strictly, be very consistent, and just give it our all 100%. And we just kind of considered that to be, let's just do it and be done with it. And so we started, and the first couple of nights were just so hard and so awful. Like, she at that point she was over 1, and so she was able to, like, you know, stand up and like call for us and cry her head off, and just, it was just really hard. But we kept going and we kept going, and then after like, I want to say the 3rd or 4th night, she started to really clue in, and this is kind of where things made a turn for us. She ended up starting to develop this like anxiety, where she would, the second bedtime routine was starting, she was just beside herself. She would just cry the whole time. Normally she loves bath time and she loves stories, and like all of these things that were so wonderful about our bedtime routine became like this anxiety inducing thing for her. And that was really, really painful to watch, especially knowing that she normally loves these things and seeing her, how that transpired. And then going forward a couple days later, it started moving higher up in the day. Like, she would literally be anxious about this starting at dinner time, and we would be dealing with this crying and upset like emotions all throughout dinner and all throughout getting ready for bedtime routine, and then getting through bedtime routine, and then everything. And so I think we got to about a week through it this time around, and I just looked at Caleb and I said, like, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I was like, it's just not worth it for me. Everybody in this house is just so distraught, and it's just not gonna work for us. I said, if I have to wake up with her at 3 a.m. every day for the rest of her life, I will, because it just wasn't something that I was willing to be putting on my heart and on her heart. So anyways, we made the decision to just kind of throw it out the window for now and just let it be. And that's when I kind of switched my mindset. I decided, like, there have to be other ways to help her get a better sleep, and there have to be other ways that maybe I should focus on. And so I started focusing more on schedule and on timing things and trying to fill up her tired bank, I like to say. And I'm really excited to say that right now she sleeps through the night, and this is the first time since she was born, really. The past couple months have been just so nice getting a full night's sleep, and for her too, she has so much energy. But that just kind of goes to show that there are, you know, other options if sleep training isn't for you, and that's okay. Like, I just want to say that right now, if sleep training is your route, that is okay. If not sleep training is your route, then that is okay. So the things that I have kind of focused on to try to help Nova sleep is definitely, like I said, timing, filling her tired bank, and keeping a consistent schedule. So what really did it for us was actually transitioning to 1 nap a day. She was at 2 naps a day up until after she turned 1, and I could just really tell a shift in her that it it was just kind of messing with her whole system, I found. And sometimes if that second nap would run a little longer, then there wasn't enough awake time before her bedtime, or she didn't have a chance to like get out her energy, and then her actual naps were starting to get kind of short too, and there was a lot of things signaling towards transitioning to one nap. So once we made that transition, that's exactly when she started like sleeping through the night, and I was just like shocked. I was like, really? This is what we needed? So I pretty much just kind of did it right away, going down to one nap. I just kind of stretched that morning wake time until after we had lunch. We usually eat lunch at around 11:30, and she goes down around 12 to 12:30 depending on what time she woke up in the morning. And then at the beginning she didn't really sleep for very long at naps, but now she does a good like 2-hour stretch usually. It's always at least an hour and a half, and then sometimes, right now for example, she's almost at 2.5 hours right now. So it just kind of depends on the timing of everything, what time she woke up and what we were doing in the morning, like if we were outside and stuff. Something important to note is that vitamin D is actually a huge component in sleep. So the more time you're spending outside and getting, you know, energy out, getting sunshine, that is all going to help get a better sleep. It definitely took me a long time to figure out exactly what she needed, and to also get out of my head that like it needs to be a certain way, or that just because I saw someone else do it like this, I should be exactly like that. Like every household and every child is so different. You just have to keep remembering that as you go forward and as you kind of like tinker with things. And the other thing I want to say is that sleep does not define your parenthood journey. I know the dreaded question when you go to family events and stuff, or you see a friend, is, oh, is so-and-so sleeping through the night? And you just like, you're like, look at these tired eyes. Look at the bags under my eyes. Do you think she's sleeping through the night? That's what I wanted to say sometimes. But seriously, take the pressure off yourself. Honestly, just enjoy this time, because really this is just like a blip in time, and I can't even believe just how fast time is going already. And I really honestly cherish that time where we are rocking her to sleep. Like, it's really special. Caleb and I alternate nights when we rock her to sleep, so that, you know, one person can like go have a shower or clean up the kitchen from dinner or something like that, but then we each are getting a chance to do it as well, which I think is really good, because then she's learning to rely on me for sleep, but then also on her dad. But essentially a synopsis of everything that I just blabbed on about. The Taking Care of Babies course, it does work. Absolutely, it does work. You need to be committed and consistent, and just understand that your baby is most likely going to cry, and don't let anybody tell you that they're not, because that's just a lie. So be prepared, and you got this. And if sleep training is not on your heart, that is okay too, and you have other resources, other ways to kind of help guide and teach your child to sleep. Now, saying all this, I have no idea what the future holds for us, if we are ever going to try sleep training again or the program again. But for now, in this stage, we are just happy doing what we're doing. Anyways, I hope this video was helpful. I know that deciding between which way you're gonna go is really hard for some of us mamas, and I hope that by sharing my experience, you can kind of just get a little glimpse into what it could be like. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.